So I'm starting a bunch of reading vlogs at the same time, so you will be seeing at least 2 more vlogs starting off like in this shoot, in this setting, so just, deal with it. This is a continuation of the last video that I did on the Women's Prize shortlist. If you missed it, basically I picked out 6 books to read for the Women's Prize shortlist from the long list, and then 5 of the books that I picked out ended up making the shortlist. How you like that? We call that foresight on this channel, okay? We call that being psychic. That's what I am. Even though I'm boasting about, oh my god, the 5 books I picked out made the shortlist, I only actually finished 2 of them. And those were The Bread the Devil Need by Lisa Allen Agostini, as well as The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. And I love both of these books. I would be happy if both of them win. They were fabulous, fabulous, fabulous books. The Sentence was a really great story that felt very modern and felt very relevant. It centered on books and a bookstore and Native American culture. It's so good. And The Bread the Devil Need is a fabulous story that takes place right here in Trinidad and Tobago by a local author named Lisa Allen Agostini, who I actually recently started chatting with, and I realized that we have a lot of things in common, like we're doing our degrees in the same department at the university, and I didn't even know this. So Lisa's she's my good Judy now. And it's just wonderfully written and a very engaging story, and everybody should read it. But yeah, that means I still have 4 more books to read. I'm actually about halfway through Great Circle, and I'm really enjoying it. It is a book that takes place in 2 different timelines. In the early 20th century, we're following a woman named Marion, who's kind of like an Amelia Earhart type figure. She wants to be the first person to circumnavigate the world longitudinally, right? So that means over the poles. But then, this is not a spoiler, she ends up going missing, never to be seen again. And then in our modern day timeline, we're following a woman named Hadley, who is an actress, and she has always had a fascination with Marion's life because she felt like they had a similar upbringing or whatever. And so she ends up taking an opportunity to play Marion in a biopic. So far, I'm enjoying Marion's story more than Hadley. Like, Hadley's story, it doesn't really feel like it needs to be there.
So I'm in a hammock, in case you couldn't tell. And I like to usually come out here on a Sunday afternoon and do my reading, and I decided that I would come out and do some of my Women's Prize reading here. So I actually did not make any much progress on Great Circle. Instead, I went ahead and started one of the other books, which was The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. This one takes place between Cyprus and London, and we're following a few different characters. First of all, we have Kostas and Daphne, who are in a bit of a star-crossed lovers situation. Kostas is a Greek Christian and Daphne is a Turkish Muslim, and their families therefore don't approve of their relationship because of the history of tension between those 2 groups in Cyprus. So they end up running away together, and they live in London, where they have their daughter Ada. So eventually Daphne dies, and we're following the perspectives of Kostas in the past and Ada in the future, as well as the perspective of a fig tree that Kostas is taken care of. So it's a really interesting story, and it has a bit of a, I guess you could say, speculative element, because the tree is sentient. The whole idea is that in this reality, trees and plants and stuff are sentient, and they can see and hear and understand human beings, but we just don't realize it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this book because it's an interesting exploration of Cyprus history and politics, which is something that I never really knew too much about. I knew that Cyprus was divided between the Greeks and the Turks, and I obviously knew that there were tensions because of that, but I never knew much of the details of that history and that circumstance. So reading the book and getting to learn a little bit more about that has been really interesting for me, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't necessarily know that this is going to be like a 5-star read. There are definitely aspects of it that I do find to be a bit meh. Like, the story isn't amazing. It's not the most like jaw-dropping book I've ever read. I have a feeling that this is not maybe the best place to start with Elif Shafak, and it's probably not her strongest work, which is what I've been hearing from people. I have about 120 something pages to go, so I think if I really put my mind to it and sit down in this hammock, I could finish it this evening. I hiked up a mountain with 6 books. Don't personally recommend that, but I wanted to give you all an update on what I read. Right now we're underneath a dilapidated American... Oh, I have people in the back. I said we're underneath a dilapidated American. We're underneath a dilapidated building that used to belong to the Americans during like the war or something. So speaking of the war...
Is it the war?
Yeah, it wasn't the war?
I don't know.
Well, what else it could be? And they was here in the war. Speaking of the war, I finished Great Circle and the Island of Missing Trees.
Okay,
I
and so a Jeff, that is it. I am out. There is a Jeff.
Well, look at that, that's a jet nest on the ground. I finished the Island of Missing Trees in the hammock that very same day, and I loved it. I think my thoughts more or less remain the same on this book, which is that I really enjoyed like the political and historical aspects of it, learning about the history of Cyprus and the tensions between the two groups. I also really enjoyed the aspects of the story that had to do with plants and nature. It was meant to be kind of like a reflection on how humans treat nature and sort of entertaining the idea of like the possibility of plants being sentient, and if they were, how would they observe us, how would they make sense of us. And it was very intriguing to get that perspective. There was a cute little twist at the end too with regards to the tree and the whole perspective that I really enjoyed. But as I said, I feel like this book is really not so much about the characters and their personal story. Like their story was interesting, but that was honestly just there to move the plot forward. For me, this book was more so about learning about the wider context. So I'm not sure if everybody will love this, and I can see why some people did not. Because if you're picking this up for like great characters and an unforgettable story, you're probably not going to get that. But if you're picking this up because you want to enjoy the wider, like the bigger picture of the story, I think this might be one for you. So give it a try. I also ended up finishing Great. Can't even see it properly. Oh my god, the light is so horrendous. There's so much garbage here, people are disgusting. Again, my thoughts remain the same. I found that hardly the modern storyline was very superfluous and unnecessary. This book would have been just as great, if not better, without it. It didn't feel like it served a purpose until the end, and when you get to the end, it's basically supposed to reveal something about something that happened in the future, and to me that felt like the only purpose that particular storyline had to give us. So wasn't a fan of that. I also found that this book was very drawn out. It took very long to read. I finally finished this after months of chugging through it. It is so laboriously long, but I had to move it because my attention, her cousins are taking over everything. Right, so the very same thing that I find laborious about this book, I think, is also what makes this book a good story, ironically, and why I think this is honestly going to take the win. You see, the thing about this book is that Maggie Shipstead pays so much attention to detail. Like, she gives us Go away! I don't know. Well, you can watch the video back. She pays so much attention to detail, and it is very impressive, like how much she knows about aviation, about history. This book takes place between the two world wars, art and Hollywood, and there's just, you can tell that she put a lot of research and a lot of work into this book, and you know, a smart person wrote this book. This is a book written by a smart person. Can you all go over there? 2 more minutes. Okay, we'll walk down. I couldn't finish filming what I was filming while I was there. So I think the last thing I said is that Great Circle was really impressive because of how much the author knows and how much she actually put into the book and how much meticulous detail and work and research went into telling that story. So the thing that I was trying to point out is that even though that's the very same thing that annoyed me about the book at times, I think that's one of the things that I also at the same time appreciate the most about it. Other than that, because it took me so long to read this book, it feels like I have been to high school and back with these main characters. And so they have forever been etched into my memory. And I think because of that, it is going to have a very long-lasting impact on me. So sometimes when you have a book that is very long, it might be a blessing in disguise, because even though you might be annoyed while you're reading it, or you might be a little bored at times, it ends up becoming a book that stays with you for a really long time. And I think that these characters are definitely going to stay with me for a very long time. I absolutely fell in love with these characters, and it took me a while to, and not so much Hadley, but the other ones like Marianne and the people in her life, specifically her brother Jamie. She has a twin brother named Jamie who is also kind of like a main character, and we also read a lot from his perspective, and I really enjoyed it. I wish that this was a story that more so focused on the two perspectives of the twins as opposed to the modern timeline and the historical timeline. Just give me the historical timeline. I would have been totally fine with that. So right now I'm currently reading The Book of Form and Emptiness. I'm about 70 pages in. I've been trying to read it all day, but I'm kind of sleepy because I have not been sleeping properly for the past couple of nights, and I spend more time in the hammock dozing off than paying attention to the book. I was supposed to make it like halfway through by this afternoon, and I'm only 70 pages in, which is fine. I'm gonna try to break at least the halfway point over the night. Maybe I'll do like a reading sprint or something, and try to finish it tomorrow. But then I still have to read Sorrow and Bliss, and the prize is going to be announced on Wednesday, which is literally like 2-3 days from now. I don't know how I'm going to finish these books by Wednesday. I feel like I might make it to Wednesday with only 4.5 to 5 books read. And I'm not happy about that.
I know what you're probably thinking, Sajid, when are you going to stop wearing that old ratatang tank top? At some point, when I get more, but I haven't gotten more, so deal with her. So I have decided to give up. I read 4.2 of these books, and I'm very happy with my progress, and I'm okay with conceding to the fact that today is the announcement of the Women's Prize winner, and I have not finished the shortlist. And you know what, that's fine. I'll finish it at some point. You'll hear more conclusive thoughts in my wrap-up later this month on the books that I didn't get to finish in this vlog. Let's talk about what I read quickly. I did not get to update you on the Book of Form and Emptiness because I did not make any progress on this. I read 10 more pages, so I'm only 80 pages in. I'm loving this book though. It's about a boy named Benny whose father recently passes away, and he starts to hear all of these voices, and he realizes that the voices are coming from the objects in his life. So he'd hear the voices of like old toys and plants and food in the fridge and pencils. And he's not sure why this is happening to him, just that it has something to do with the grief of losing his dad. He decides to go to the library where it is quiet and where the voices are a little bit more hushed, and that's where he meets the Book of Form and Emptiness, who also starts speaking to him and who begins to tell his story. And we are reading the Book of Form and Emptiness. So it's like this really meta, full circle, philosophical thought experiment, which is very much up Ruth Ozeki's alley. If you've read A Tale for the Time Being, this type of story should come as no surprise to you. So I'm definitely looking forward to finishing this one, and this is a book that I want to take my time with and really focus on and appreciate. I'm not going to rush down a book by a beloved author for the sake of trying to read it before the prize is announced. So the only other book that I have not read as yet, and I really hope this does not win, Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. Oh my god. I just have a feeling that with my luck, this is going to win. This is the one book that I did not get around to. I don't even know what it's about, so don't even ask me. Marta Friel just turned 40. She once worked in Vogue. She has a PhD, or she don't have a PhD. She was something this and had a bomb and is a dilapidated building in London. Oh ma'am, she sounds like she have it good. Yeah, I don't know what the hell this book is about, but I do want to read it. I mean, I did buy it, so I might as well just like read it by the end of the month. So again, you'll hear more conclusive thoughts on both of these, not in this vlog. I'm trying to pick up the Book of Form and Emptiness, but it doesn't want to be picked up apparently. I'll be talking about both of these in my wrap-up, so definitely look out for that. Okay, let's talk about who I think is going to win Ariana Grande. Let's talk about them in alphabetical order. First, we have The Bread the Devil Need by Lisa Allen Agostini. I would really love for this one to win for my own biased reasons. It's a book by a Trinidadian author. It's a Trinidadian story. It's written in Trinidadian Creole, and I know the author, so it would be like really nice if this were to win. And I do think it's favored to win. I think that this is definitely like the favorite book that everybody who has read all of the shortlists, like people seem to really like this, which I very much am happy about, because I was kind of concerned that because of the fact that this book is written in Creole, it wouldn't really resonate with everybody, but it's so great to see that people can read it and understand it. I don't know if it's going to win, but I would like to see it win. I just think it would be super revolutionary if a book that was written in Trinidadian Creole wins an English language book prize, and it would be a slap in the face to like respectability and colonialism, and I love that. I love that this book was even shortlisted, was even longlisted. I'm so glad that it's on the shortlist, and I think if it wins, that would be really, really cool. The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. Let's talk about her. I would like to see this win as well because I really enjoyed it. I think it's a very current book, so it definitely has that going for it. The whole 2020 pandemic situation, addressing the George Floyd situation, as well as the ongoing discussion and representation of Native American people in American society and media. So I think this book has a lot going for it. I could definitely see it winning for those reasons as well. Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. I have no idea what this book is about. I don't know if it's deserving of the win. I just don't know. The Book of Form and Emptiness by Ruth Ozeki. I mean, I'm currently reading it and I'm enjoying it, and I love Ruth Ozeki. I do have like a sentimental attachment to her as an author because of A Tale for the Time Being, and I would like to see her win just because I would like to see Ruth Ozeki win, but I haven't gotten far enough into this book to know whether or not I want to see the Book of Form and Emptiness win. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like the author, the book, like who are you really giving the award to? I don't know, but I am very happy that this book is here, and I'm glad that Ruth Ozeki is getting more recognition for her work, and I would not be mad if this wins. The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. She is a literary award darling. She's always on these long lists and short lists. I don't know if she's won anything. She might have won a Booker Prize. I'm not sure if she's ever won the Women's Prize. I can see this winning, again, for political reasons. It's a story that addresses Cyprus and its history and its politics and war. So all of those things are factors into why this book could be chosen for the win. But the book that I think is most likely to take the win, like objectively speaking, is Great Circle. And the reason why I keep saying that is because I think that this book is so meticulous in its attention to detail, as I discussed. I think so much thought and work and research went into this, and that's not to dismiss the work and research that went into the other books, but I feel like because this book is so intellectually crafted, if that makes sense, I think they might want to give this the win. It was shortlisted for the Booker Prize. It has a lot of things going for it, you know? Even though it's not my favorite of what I've read so far, I would not be mad if this won. There's so much similarities between a lot of these books as well. We have like these two books which are about war and which vary between the past and the present. We have these two books which have like sentient, non-human, non-animal characters in them. This has a tree that partially narrates the story, and this one has a book that narrates the story. So it's really interesting that these two books are similar in that regard, and they both made the shortlist together. And also The Sentence and The Book of Form and Emptiness being both stories that have speculative elements in them and that are about books at the heart of them. I mean, both of these books take place, the center of both of these stories are in this case a bookstore, in this case a library, right? So again, lots of similarities here. And then these three books are by darling, beloved authors, right? And it's interesting because I've been listening to a lot of the consensus from many people on BookTube and stuff, and it seems that these books are on the list more maybe for like the author than the books themselves, as I was kind of alluding to earlier, because these are authors who are well known, but it seems from what I've been hearing from a lot of people is that these books are just not their best work, which is fine. It doesn't have to be. So a lot of people suspect that, if they give these authors the prize, it would be more about awarding authors who have been in the game for a really long time than it is really about awarding these particular books. These two seem to be the ones that people are kind of like saying would probably take the win, although I really hope this one doesn't. No shade to Meg Mason. I would be happy for her if she does win. I just haven't read the book, and it would be suckish if the only book I didn't read won. And then of course there is this, which seems to be the darling amongst the readers. Maybe not so much the panelists or whatever, but like the readers seem to really, really enjoy The Bread the Devil Need. And I'm really glad that it's here. So honestly, I wish the best for all of these authors. They're all winners in my book. Okay, so the ceremony just started. I'm really upset because the rain is falling, so I don't know if y'all could hear the computer properly. Oh, they're inviting the authors up on the stage. Hold on, let's react together, since y'all probably can't hear. Can you see that? You could probably see it. Okay, let's do that.
Lisa Allen Agostino.
Yes! We stand. Yes, I'm living for this. Yes, this moment, this orange, and the
Louise Erdrich, The Sentence, represented by her editor, James Gerber.
Oh, she's not there. Okay. Alright, James, with the shirts. Okay. That's a very gay shirt.
Meg Mason, Sorrow and Bliss.
Sorry, I ain't read your book, but oh, she's very pretty. Wow.
Ruth Ozeki, The Book of Form and Emptiness.
Yes, Ruth. Okay. Alright.
The Island of Missing Trees.
Yes, ma'am. Where's she? Oh. Yeah, she always likes my posts when I post pictures, so I like her. I like her. She likes my posts.
Maggie Shipstead, Great Circle.
Come on, Maggie. Okay, I love this dress. I love this hair. This is a moment.
And now the moment you've all been waiting for, it's time to announce the winner of the Women's Prize for Fiction 2022. The winning book, which we felt stood out for its originality, sparkling writing, warm, depth, intelligence, humour, and poignancy. Celebration of the power of books and reading to tackle big issues of life and death
It's a sentence.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Women's Prize for Fiction 2022 is the Book of Form and Emptiness.
Oh my god! Okay. Yay! Oh my gosh! That is amazing! We stand! We stand! We stand! I knew the minute she talked about books, it was either The Sentence or Book of Form and Emptiness. Yay! Oh my god, I'm so glad. I'm so happy.
This is absurd.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the formal part. The Bailey's bar is open. The bar
Okay,
is
the
open.
bar open.
Shortlist
Everybody
race
gonna
is
drink
taking
now.
money.
Alright,
And the
well.
final thing, there are fewer men than there are women here tonight. But
As
then
it
the
should
same
be.
number of loos. So women, use the men's loos. See you next year.
This man's what? I didn't hear what she said. Maybe that was a British thing. I'm not sure. Congratulations to the Book of Form and Emptiness by Ruth Ozeki. Yes, yes. I'm really happy this one. It's one of the books that I didn't finish, of course, but at least I started it. 78 pages, and I did not expect this to win because a lot of people who've been predicting was like, oh, it's going to be, even I was like, it's going to be Great Circle. I was definitely, like, this was definitely like 4th on the list for me, or maybe even 5th, because I could have seen Great Circle winning over this. I could have seen Bread the Devil Need, Island of Missing Trees, and The Sentence winning over. Even when they said the book, like it's a story about books, I was like, okay, The Sentence, right? Like I went straight to that. I didn't think it would be this one. But I'm so glad it is, because Ruth Ozeki absolutely freaking deserves it. And what I've read of this so far, I've really enjoyed. So congratulations to Ruth Ozeki. Congratulations to the Book of Form and Emptiness. And congratulations to... put her there. To all of the authors who were shortlisted and longlisted. I'm very happy right now. I feel good. I feel really good. I'm gonna go finish this book. Bye everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me. If you've read any books of the shortlist, you have any thoughts on them, do let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know your thoughts, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.